星界风景不错。
足够疗愈世界，不必惦念。路上，我的指
挥。Xiao Yan, a high-level one-star Saint Do Shang, headed to Dragon Island to rescue Ziyan. The three Dragon Kings attacked with all their might, attempting to kill Ziyan. Xiao Yan unleashed his strongest technique, the five-colored Buddha's Fury Lotus, and he did so at the saint level. Just imagine that power. Yet even after taking the full force of this attack, the three Dragon Kings were still alive. Xiao Yan clearly understood the might of the divine wrath of the Serene Origin, his mental attack on the mind, and the Fire Lotus. One technique specialized in damaging the soul, while the other boasted terrifying destructive power. The strength created by combining these two could only be described as horrifying. However, the bodies of the ancient void dragons were unbelievably tough. A dragon's roar echoed out, and a dragon claw hundreds of meters in size shot straight toward Xiao Yan. The three enormous dragons were the true forms of the three great Dragon Kings, yet their appearance was utterly miserable. Blood streamed like rivers from their massive dragon bodies. More than half of their scales, each the size of a human head, had been shattered. Deep ravine-like wounds covered their bodies, and white bones could be seen faintly within some of those injuries. Although they had survived Xiao Yan's attacks, they had paid a tremendous price. Little bastard. I guarantee you'll suffer a fate worse than death. The three enormous dragons hovered in the void. An extremely dense dragon aura spread outward, as though the entire world were trembling at that moment. A vicious roar thundered across this empty realm. Standing before these three gigantic dragons, Xiao Yan looked like an ant. He flapped his bone wings and rapidly retreated. The three great Dragon Kings had already gone mad. If he fought them head-on, he would almost certainly die. Three pillars of light, each 1,000 meters wide, fired out with extremely terrifying destructive power. It was very likely that Xiao Yan would be completely erased if he were struck by them. Reincarnation of the Wrathful Buddha. Xiao Yan activated his self-created saint-level technique. 4 clusters of heavenly flame shot out and transformed into a platform, forming a fiery ring. This was a unique Do Qi skill that Xiao Yan comprehended after advancing to the saint level. The massive fiery platform collided head-on with the attacks of the three Dragon Kings. Boom! At the instant of collision, a strange force burst forth from within the fiery platform, and the pillars of light were sent flying back with shrill whistling sounds. Even so, this force still caused Xiao Yan to spit out blood. The Dragon Kings suffered the same fate. After blocking all 3 dragon attacks, the fiery platform also exploded. Xiao Yan's body was blasted backward, and he spat out even more blood. Those 3 reflected pillars of light then mercilessly flew toward the enormous bodies of the 3 great Dragon Kings, inflicting even more horrifying injuries. Kill him! A wild and brutal roar echoed through space. The Northern Dragon King was completely enraged at this moment. The combined attack of the 3 great Dragon Kings had not only failed to quickly kill Xiao Yan, but they themselves had been injured by their own attacks. One must remember that at this moment, Xiao Yan was only at the peak of 1-star saint. Meanwhile, the Dragon Kings possessed the strength of 3-star saints, with the Northern Dragon King close to 4-star saint. With such a massive gap in power, Xiao Yan had not only managed to survive, but had even wounded the dragons. He stabilized his body and wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth. A trace of madness appeared in his eyes. The 3 great Dragon Kings had driven him into a corner. You'll all have to try harder if you want to kill me. As madness filled Xiao Yan's eyes, both of his hands formed seals, and a massive illusory figure once again enveloped his body. He activated his spiritual strength once more, releasing the divine wrath of the Serene Origin. A terrifying spiritual attack flared up again and ruthlessly struck the 3 great Dragon Kings. At that moment, the gigantic blood-red eyes of the 3 Dragon Kings dimmed. The spiritual attacks inflicted tremendous damage upon them. The Northern Dragon King was the first to recover from the second spiritual attack. Die, brat! He reverted to human form and appeared in front of Xiao Yan in a flash. With a ferocious expression, he struck Xiao Yan in the chest. Xiao Yan suffered a terrifying blow. Yet he glared fiercely at the Northern Dragon King. With a wave of his hand, a four-colored fire lotus suddenly appeared and slammed into the Northern Dragon King's chest. Explode! The fire lotus erupted once again, and the explosion sent the Northern Dragon King flying 10,000 meters away. He had never expected this. Xiao Yan had exchanged blow for blow with him. The interior of Xiao Yan's body was in complete chaos from the Northern Dragon King's strike. Even his chest had slightly caved in. Without his extraordinarily powerful physique, it was very likely that the Northern Dragon King's blow would have simply caused his body to explode. Just as Xiao Yan was struggling to catch his breath, two flashes of light appeared in the air. They were the Southern and Western Dragon Kings. Their eyes were blood red, and they looked completely insane. The three great Dragon Kings had been beaten into such a miserable state by someone from the younger generation. Just thinking about it drove the rational thoughts of these two kings into madness. Little brat, go and die. The Southern Dragon King's expression was savage. His hand transformed into a massive claw that ruthlessly flew toward Xiao Yan's head. If that palm reached him, Xiao Yan's head would inevitably explode. The heart in Xiao Yan's chest suddenly began to beat violently. A strange bloodline hidden within his chest quietly began to flow. Sensing his blood rapidly surging through his veins, Xiao Yan suddenly felt as though all the strength he had already exhausted returned to him in an instant. Moreover, he even felt as if he had become stronger than before. This is... Xiao Yan was stunned as a golden light flashed past him, because he saw that the charging arm of the Southern Dragon King had been severed from his body. Ziyan had finally entered the battle. We must remember that Xiao Yan had deliberately bought time for Ziyan, taking on the three Dragon Kings by himself. Xiao Yan then saw a figure slowly walking through the air. A liquid golden sword flowed gently between her hands, while an alarming destructive aura spread outward from it at the same time. As the new emperor, I will imprison you forever in the dragon prison if you dare touch him again. Ziyan's body was currently emitting a terrifying pressure that even frightened Xiao Yan. This pressure originated from the golden sword she held in her hand. The Southern Dragon King stared blankly at his severed arm. Every part of his body possessed terrifying toughness. Even if he had taken a direct hit from a 5-star saint, it would have been impossible to cut off his arm. And yet, dragon-slaying sword? You summoned the dragon-slaying sword. The hearts of the Dragon Kings began to pound wildly. The shock in their eyes was unmistakable. Their bodies trembled as they stared at the golden sword in Ziyan's hand. The dragon-slaying sword was not a weapon. It was an extremely powerful Do Qi technique belonging to the ancient Void Dragon clan. This Do Qi skill could only be used by an ancient Void Dragon with the purest royal bloodline. Even the three great Dragon Kings could not use it, and none of them had ever expected that Ziyan could. It must be said that even Emperor Zhu Kuan had to reach the level of a 6-star saint before he barely managed to summon the dragon-slaying sword. Yet Ziyan was currently only at the level of a 4-star saint. The dragon-slaying sword, as its name implied, was specifically used to kill dragons. It could be considered a technique belonging exclusively to the Dragon Emperor. The dragon-slaying sword. At this moment, everyone on Dragon Island froze. They raised their heads. Every single one of them stared at the lone figure in the sky with deep fear. All of them felt terror and dread arising directly from their bloodlines. Every Void Dragon feared the dragon-slaying sword to the core of their being. The Dragon Emperor had actually summoned the dragon-slaying sword. Moreover, a Dragon Emperor who could summon the dragon-slaying sword was a true emperor. From this moment onward, Ziyan had finally proven her authority and her right to command the entire ancient Dragon clan. What will happen next? And how will Ziyan deal with the three Dragon Kings? We will examine that in the next part. There are simply too many events here, making it impossible to cover everything in a single video. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and goodbye everyone.